So
Okay.
thank you. James has given an overview of the teams slightly, and now we're going into the scenario.
Right. You are a challenger bank called Prevail Bank. You've been in business now for a couple of years. You've got your product out there. You've got a few 100,000 customers, which isn't bad at all. You've got your outsourced call center, basic infrastructure. You are essentially the HQ team between you. You've got your CEO, you've got other C roles, you've got your senior management. Almost everything you do is outsourced as a managed service elsewhere. And obviously you've got your shareholder investors. You have essentially walked into work this morning, and at 10:30, your telephony and email systems have gone down completely. They've been shut off utterly. That's all you know at the moment. So you are in the office. You can communicate freely among yourselves. Go for it.
All right, guys, I understand we are having some issues with our phones and the other communications. So is there an update on what's the impact on our business? How is that impacting our customers? Who else is what other roles are available? So I kind of want to understand who am I asking?
Let's have a volunteer COO. Anyone? Who wants to take responsibility for the operations and the customer facing side? Anyone?
Go on then. This will be
Okay.
this will be a bit of fun. I may need that beer. I may need that beer that you just had though.
Yeah, it's always worth bringing a drink to these. They can get quite stressful. Right, so the information that you have is essentially nothing. Your dashboards are down, your comms with the external call center is down. You can't get into your Office 365 storage. You just can't get into anything. So the answer is you currently do not know. About the only thing you have is phone numbers for your representatives and your contacts at those different areas.
You have to pretend as well that there is no planning for this type of situation.
That's very faint. Who said what?
Sorry, it was me. I was asking if we have to pretend there's no plan as well.
No, you can assume that there is a plan in place. You can assume that, well, let's make you CTO. Yes, you have a business continuity plan, so you have failover across multiple regions for your telephony, all dealt with by your managed service provider. So it would take quite a large technical failure in order to take out your telephony and comms.
And our customers are not able to reach us. Is the customer-facing systems working?
Well, I guess that's yeah, that's a really good question. I guess are there if there are teams that can get on via mobile, can we start checking external customer sites, etc., as per?
Okay. Anyone browsing to your website will see it is still up. Log into the actual customer-facing systems seem to work. Live chat times out. Any attempt to reach your call center appears to be timing out, but the infrastructure is still running.
Okay, so let's call these call center guys, right? Who do we have? Yep. Is it COOs? Probably COOs responsibility to call them, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So from the top, let's start with the kick off the escalation for phones, email, Office 365. I'm guessing network connectivity for the office as well, because if we can't get out,
yeah, you can actually get internet access from the office absolutely fine, so there's no failure there. Okay. All of your telephony, comms, and your Office 365 is with a managed service called Service Agile.
Can we get an agile response from them, do you think?
Possibly. You've got a phone number for them. and the response you'll get from your account manager there is that you haven't paid your bill in 3 months.
Uh-oh.
What?
Ooh. Ooh, okay.
Not good.
Do
And
we
that-
need to put something on our website saying that we're experiencing some technical difficulties so that the customers are not panicking and they can still use the website?
But they're able to use it, I think.
Yeah,
currently.
so in terms of the kind of the telephone line, so if they are trying to reach us,
Do we have a CFO? And can we
do we
find
have a
out?
communication department who can advise us on what's the best strategy? Is it going to be creating panic among our customers, or is that a good idea or not?
if you find that there's a role that you need and you don't have, just volunteer someone.
Be the CFO then. I'm trying to figure out what happened about that payment not going through.
Andre, you're CTO, aren't you?
No, you're the CTO, I think. Or you're the CEO? Sorry, you're the CEO, right? So I'm the CTO.
No, Ludmila is
I'm
CEO.
CEO. I'm panicking now. I'm watching our share price. I think it's kind of it's taking a bit of a dive.
Oh,
No, at the moment, all that customers are saying is live chat is down. So, can we get something on Twitter saying we're getting, or equivalent saying we're getting technical problems, as someone suggested, just as an initial cover?
okay. I'll do the PR.
You'll do the PR, okay.
Just a cautionary note, it's not technical problems. Think about the hindsight as this emerges. We don't want to be getting ourselves into a comms trouble of our own making.
That's why we need somebody who can validate what's the best strategy. Do we have a comms person who will advise us if it's a good idea to release any statement at this stage, or shall we wait and triage further?
So, I think because
what's
this is a startup, it might not have too many people doing it. But if we have one marketing person or two, that they're deciding. Go ahead.
Sorry, no. Please continue.
So, as your marketing person, with my huge depth of experience in this field, I'd say we can just use Twitter for now, and we should do the triage, and we don't want to create mass panic for without knowing the whys yet. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that makes sense, to be honest. I think it's early stages yet, and if we haven't had any customers reaching out to us yet asking the questions, we probably need to keep it in-house, but maybe we need to have a bit of a plan on how long we can wait.
How much, what's the size of the unpaid bill? How much is it?
It's 3 months worth of payment for all of your telephony, various other bits, so it's a few tens of thousands, 60,000.
And is it the reason that we cannot phone anymore? So
yes,
did they shut down?
Yes.
They sent you warnings. They cautioned you that they'd not been paid and they'd have to cancel, or at least this is what they're saying they did. Didn't receive payment, didn't receive any communication, so they shut down your service as a last resort.
So CEO, I'd like to understand how that was possible, because was that bill not communicated to us? So what's going on
that's a
there?
CFO question, isn't it?
I was going to say I'd like to delegate to the Right Honourable Member for Finance to my left or right, virtual left or right. Do we have a CFO?
Do we have any redundancy? Can we actually use something else rather than the ones?
Did you say redundancy?
Do you have a backup plan for this or not at all?
No.
So the service
for this, there is no backup plan. Service Agile is your critical operational provider. You went with them because they're particularly good. They've got guarantees around 99.69's uptime.
Okay. So can we call them and guarantee them that we will be paying them as soon as possible
But do we not need to find out why we haven't paid them already? There might be a reason. We might think we paid them.
Exactly. I think we need to see our source of truth, what it says.
So do we know who is responsible for bill payments, CFO or CEO?
CFO.
It would normally
Generally.
be CFO or at least accountants working under the CFO.
All right, who is CFO? Do we know? Do we have a CFO?
He's on the run, it looks like.
Not in the office at the moment, apparently.
It's on vacation, I heard.
Right. Do we have a phone number or a contact for the company that's providing us with the services who we didn't pay the bill?
Yep, your
Yes, we-
COO is in contact with them.
Yeah, we've
just spoken to the account manager, I think.
yes, and and they said no pay, no service, which was. Do we have a delegate for the CFO or a way of contacting the CFO?
It's a CEO who's a delegate. Probably. I mean, that makes sense to me, but I might be wrong. So,
okay. So if I am the CFO delegate, then I should have the ability to talk to people in accounting to find out what's happened and if we have paid. So James, can I find out that information from accounting to find out whether we have paid?
Yep, absolutely. You've been sending the payments out every month like clockwork.
Ooh, this does get fun. Okay, then.
So there is a man in the middle in finance terms. I mean,
Yeah.
not.
you mean it's our bank?
So I'm just
No,
going
I
to
think
point out your person in accounting knows about the last couple of months and knows that those definitely went out and were paid. They're not aware really before that, but they can definitely go and look.
Can we check if our payments payments details have changed recently? Have we changed where we're paying to that company or not? Could that be fraud? Could our payments have been diverted?
The account details that you were paying into were changed 3 months ago.
Oh, there we go.
Right. So that sounds like maybe we have had a fraud scenario where our payments have been going to the wrong company. Can we validate our contact details for the original company CEO and make sure that we can cross-reference the details of the payment versus where we actually are paying to?
Yep. Well, that's really one for. Yeah, let's do
for
that.
the accounting team.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. And are we in a again, one for the accounting team, James, are we in a position to make an emergency payment to the managed service provider to get our services back online to allow us to investigate this further?
No.
Oh, joy.
Why not?
You
Not enough money in the bank.
Yeah, don't have enough cash on hand. Your options would be to dip into the customer security deposits. So basically the regulatory money that you have to keep back as a bank to protect your customers, to go to the shareholders and ask for more money, or to find some other way to get hold of it. You do not have that cash on hand.
Wow, we are running quite a tight ship.
Do we have an idea how long either of those options will take? So if we ask for money from shareholders, what's the process? How long it will take versus. To me, it feels, or can we get legal or legal or compliance department on the phone to confirm that the option of dipping into the resources is not actually an option? As I understand, the capital that we need to hold for for the purposes of you know, regulatory compliance is not something we can dip in. So that would be against the actual you know, banking
Rules.
regulations. So can we first confirm that, and second, understand how long it's going to take to raise the additional funds?
Well, you have two shareholders advisors in the room
Mhm.
who can get their shareholders on the phone. So best to talk to them.
All right.
For the advisors, your shareholders have poured about 8 million into this company so far. They are expecting, as a challenger bank, you're looking at about minimum of 5 years to start getting a return on that.
And
So
at the same time, dear CTO, could we find out where did we receive these new details that we've changed the bank accounts to? So that new invoice or whatever, was it an email? How did we receive it? Who received it? And so that we can go talk with them or investigate.
So I'll just make the point that you can't check your email at the moment.
Oh, not great.
Well, do we have an alternative means of communication? I mean, why can't we check our email? Is our Exchange server down, or what's the problem?
It's because it's with the managed services provider as well. So do we have like a Slack or something that we can talk with our people?
What's our plan saying?
Generally?
Yeah, you can have Slack or WhatsApp or something like that. That's not a problem.
Okay, we need to find who received these new details and how they did. So we need to ask the whole finance and accounting, I think, on how did happen. How did this happen 3 months ago?
At the same time, we could go. I'm assuming we don't hold our own accounts, and that we'll have made a payment from another bank. So can we go to them and ask for details of where the money's gone, and if it's reversible?
Yes, you can.
I doubt it, but it's worth asking.
Yep. So there's a few things to unpack there. First of all, yes, you can go to another bank, find out where the money's gone. It has gone to an account in Estonia. So for the last 3 months, the last transaction was 48 hours ago, and that may be reversible. They can get onto it. The previous ones, probably not, because it's been a month and 2 months. In terms of when the details changed, your accountant, your accounting department of one, aside from the CFO, doesn't know. They only started in the job 2 months ago, after the previous one left.
Okay, so we're not suspecting the previous person because it wouldn't make sense, right? Or
who knows? I think at this point it's.
And as a gesture of goodwill,
what's going on now?
Sorry,
Alan is
we've got a Dalek
robot.
Yeah, sorry, Alan. Yeah, if you're saying give us all your money, I think it's already been done. We've been taken to the cleaners.
So there's no procedures on the accounts payable team to have somebody new and ensure that this type of circumstances don't actually happen, or
So,
we're thinking that there was a hack. Did you get me there, James?
I got part of it. I didn't catch the rest. Sorry.
Well, you know, the accounts payable normally have 2 people checking it. There's not a single. So we're assuming that there were no procedures so that a new hire was actually able either to put a payment going through that account, or are we assuming that we were hacked? Do we know yet?
You can assume whichever you want. However, under the 4 Eyes principle, yes, it is a best practice principle. Yes, it is technically a regulatory requirement. However, if a company is too small to apply it, there are ways around it, and it's not uncommon in startups.
Okay, we are thinking that would have to exist.
And there's still the possibility that it was just a phishing from external.
Two things I think we need to do. Start talking to the shareholders to get ourselves back in operation, and at the same time start going continue the investigation to determine how we ended up with the wrong account details.
Okay, I'm going to pause you there. That's 20 minutes. Take a breath. Status update. So, Service Agile, as a show of good faith, will turn your service back on.
Oh,
It will
yay.
take them a little while to do that. So we will do a time skip before you can start using your email and other systems again, but that will come back on and your telephony will come back on. So people can start getting back onto your customer service. They're prioritizing the telephony. So that's the first bit. It's now about an hour. You've had plenty of coffee. You've had various panics. You've had Dennis come in from your cybersecurity insurance company as a first responder.
Okay.
Since he's here, you've just been recruited. You are their cybersecurity incident response consultant from one of the big guys. Pick your favorite. And you have just got to the office.
And as in another development, as a CEO, unfortunately, I had a personal emergency, and I have to kind of leave urgently. So I'm delegating my responsibility to. Do we have a CFO?
Well,
to the CEO or CFO.
No. The CFO has already legged it, so I'm currently two hats. Can we throw the CTO under the bus this time?
Right. Okay. I'm disconnecting. That's it. I'm gone.
Thank you.
So CTO is acting CEO as well.
Great.
These things happen.
Yeah, it's like
you are a startup. This is actually pretty realistic if any of you have worked in certain types of startups.
Yeah.
I
Right. You
have
email, you have
tweet.
comms.
I see a tweet on your screen, James. What's that about?
You've had a few 100 customers complaining they couldn't get into your, couldn't contact customer service, couldn't phone, couldn't find out what was going on. You didn't have anyone saying I can't get into my money because they could.
Mm-hmm.
So your infrastructure, your systems appear to all have been fine, but all of your comms points with the world were down.
Okay, so as the marketing person, I'll reply to those that come from Twitter and say, we're sorry about this. We're going to be resuming the services and we're going to update you on this.
Okay.
I'll do that.
How long have the Agile, our service provider, Service Agile, how long have they, as a gesture of goodwill, have they given us before we need to pay them and they turn it off again?
They've given you a month.
Oh, that's so nice of them.
Okay, so we don't need immediately to go and talk to the shareholders now to get cash to get back working. So yeah.
So we don't know how many customers were impacted. We know that they were impacted. We already have a message outside saying that we are experiencing some technical difficulties, but we're back up now. So now do we go about getting procedures into place so that this doesn't happen anymore, or do we have more fires?
I think we need to work out what happened first. Yeah, at the moment we have we're looking at, what we know, or what I think we know, is some payments have gone to Estonia. We don't know how, we don't know why.
So we need to go and research exactly what's going on there, right?
Yep, agreed.
We need to get somebody from accounting on the call. Since it's one person on vacation, right?
You really need someone from finance who can shed some light.
We have our favorite cybersecurity investigator in Dennis. So what would you, as a cybersecurity investigator, given the situation, what would you recommend?
I'm actually going to be cheeky and say, what's the situation? I just arrived.
Yeah, he's been sent in as a first responder. You've basically phoned up your insurer and said, we've got a situation, please send us help.
Exactly. Oh, account fraud redirection. All right, cool.
Yes.
All right. So, and how big is the company?
You're basically it. There's about 3-4 more people. You've got an accountant somewhere who works with the CFO. You've got a CFO somewhere who's on leave at some sort of anti-tech retreat. And you've got a few people who do marketing and other bits and pieces. Almost all of your services and infrastructure are outsourced.
Okay. Well, I guess the first thing is that you stopped all payments, right? And you stopped all kind of outgoings and any kind of, or is there payment still happening?
Question.
We have spoken to our bank and found out that they're going to Estonia, and they are. I believe we stopped them. We certainly asked if they could reverse the one that went out 48 hours ago, as a definite. Beyond that.
But my question was more in terms of any new payments happening. Have you put anything in place to prevent this from happening again?
It just
we haven't, because we don't know how it happened.
Yeah, but well, I'm assuming as a small company, the number of payments that you do are quite small, right?
Yeah.
So you can put measures straight away in place to make sure that every payment and every supplier gets double checked, right? At least for the next batch of payments to be done, right?
Over to James in accounting.
Has that been put in place?
You've got someone who's just been in your accounting department 2 months and was told to look at a specific thing, so they looked at that.
Yeah, so I would say the first thing to do is make sure that your accounting team needs to kind of go on overdrive now, right? And stop, make sure that so if this is, if this account was changed, then you don't know how many more accounts has been changed, right? So you could have other, dormant accounts, target accounts being changed in the last, or whoever did this, that you could be making a payment tomorrow, later today, that goes to the wrong person, right?
Okay, every payment that wasn't for a subscription service, so that wouldn't lead to an immediate stoppage of service, has been directed to one of about 5 or 6 different Estonian accounts.
Okay. So yeah, so I guess for all those payments, which we're still going to need to do in the next couple of days, right? You're going to have, or somebody from the financial team is going to have to double check that every one of those is still going to the correct place.
None of them should be going to Estonia.
Well, those are easy, right? You can stop the Estonian stuff, right? But you don't know if there's no others be modified, because the more you don't know how the system got modified, right? Yeah. So you don't know how the data actually got modified in the first place.
No, we couldn't check because our systems, our emails are down, so we couldn't check where did the information actually came from. And okay. This change has happened 3 months ago, and the guy guy or lady has been in the role for 2 months. So, and the CFO is on holiday, so we're in the dark still.
Why is the email down? What's the relevance? Is that also part of the attack?
It's part of this managed services as well.
Yeah, our managed service provider turned it off because we hadn't paid. And they have now, and that's where we found, all of the managed services, so phone, email, Office 365 were down because of, no payment for the last 3 months. We have spoken to them. They have reactivated it for a month without us needing to, they've given us a month's grace. In looking at transactions, we found that the last 2 months or maybe 3 have gone to Estonia. Yeah. We are now back up and running I believe, on phone, email, and Office 365, so we can start looking at more details. And James has just told us now that everything's going to Estonia. So
just to be clear, everything that would not lead to an immediate stoppage.
What do you mean by that?
Essentially, things like the managed service, other ones where you'd have a grace period before they take away the service or raise an issue. So the office lease has been stopped because they're not going to throw you out tomorrow. That type of thing.
Gary, how many suppliers have complained, right? Because that's usually the first clue, right? Because most suppliers will complain after a month, right? That's one of the best canaries on the coal mine on this one, right? Because you're going to have people, anybody who doesn't get paid after a little bit should complain, straight away, right? And also a bit weird why, it's a bit weird why the financial, so why didn't we pick up the emails from the email provider saying, hey, you haven't been paid, you're going to be cut off?
We don't know. That's as far as we have got is we've got ourselves back online, and we are now seeing how far down the rabbit hole things go. Yeah, first things first. The initial triage was to get ourselves back online because, and that we thought we might need to hit up the shareholders for some more money.
Yeah. Okay. So first of all, actually, like Alan said, we told our bank not to make any further payments, right?
Yes. Well, okay. Let's tell because the CFO is off somewhere. I've picked up the CFO role, so we'll tell accounts not to do that.
And have you guys been reading our investors' comments in the chat? So they have some guidance to us as well.
They're the back channel for instance response.
Oh no, it's on chat here, here in the Zoom. So it's Ellen and Benjamin. They're part of our investors group. So
yeah, I've just been using an alternative channel whilst the discussion's going on to throw some thoughts into the mix.
We can actually hear you now, Alan. Before you were like a robot. Okay, so let me see if I get this right. So basically, we have no evidence at the moment that the email has been compromised, right? At least the whole email system. We probably, one email box might probably compromised, but the overall of the email system. And is there any other indications of any other hacking or compromised activities within the company?
Beyond the beyond the payments going to Estonia, we have no evidence either way.
Yeah, but I would say that if you had a supplier who's got to the point of threatening you and actually to the point of executing on a thread, basically there's no way that supplier would not send multiple emails in advance, which I would basically say that logically that means that whoever's doing this has access at least to the inbox that the suppliers will contact.
Yeah.
Right. And that combined with the fact that you have things being changed, I think points to either the person's computer has been compromised, or the person, who did this has made the changes. And I would say, I know you talk about there's a person who left 2 months ago, but there would have been suppliers complaining they have been paid, right? And James, you said there's a large number of suppliers who has done that, right?
Yes.
So the reality is that, and actually what's the email platform?
Office 365.
All right. So one thing that would be very important is to take a look at that account.
Yeah.
And actually
forwarding rules. We should check the forwarding rules.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Correct.
There's something happening there.
Look for the account. Look for any deleted stuff on it. Right. Look for any emails from suppliers. But I would say that whoever has access to that email account and whoever has access to the financial system or either the device or the person, most likely are where the compromise came from. And I think on this case, I guess the CFO, since you are at the center of this, right? Well, we have to assume that we can trust you, right? I think on
Well,
this one.
I'm not. So the CFO is off on a retreat somewhere.
Right.
I get to play the COO, who's taken on the mantle of the CFO, whilst the CFO is off on their retreat. So
I would
yeah.
say, immediately change the email password, immediately change the password to access any of the systems. Again, do you see if you have 2FA on it? If you don't, put 2FA in there, and then you need to manually go through these things, right? And I guess the question now is, do we have any logs on both the Office 365 activities? And what's the email system used?
It's Office 365 Exchange Online.
No, but for the bank, for the financial system.
For the financial system, it's Office 365.
Then how do they make payments? They must.
Oh, wait, you mean the system used for your actual banking software?
Yeah.
You use another bank for your own accounts.
No, I'm saying, well, yeah, but how do the payments get done? The payments get done through some online,
Yeah, you set up a standing order on the online account.
Yeah.
Internet banking.
Internet banking, right? Yeah. So I think that there's a piece of work which is you need to reset all your invoices, payments to, right? You almost need to, this is a pain, but you need to manually contact, right? The suppliers and says, can you double check what is your account, right? What account you have. And
right. So for the COO, the moment you start contacting suppliers, they do start asking why they've not been paid for the last 3 months.
Yeah, but we don't have a problem with money, right? We can pay, right?
No, you have a problem with
we don't have money.
Sorry? Oh, because of all the money being moved out.
No, because you're a 2-year-old startup challenger bank. The money that you have, most of your investment has gone into customer protection deposits.
Yeah, okay, but you're saying that okay, so you have, well, I guess it's another reason to contact the suppliers, right? You're going to have to do damage control because actually, the last thing you want is them going public, right? So and you already had the situation of them pulling the plug a bit visibly. So actually, managing suppliers is going to be a key role, right? So actually, get all the execs of how many you've got. You're going to have to do some soft landing on your key suppliers, right? And actually, you need to, and that also gives you an understanding of, if anything, contacting all the suppliers will give you a sense of how big the problem is, right? Because actually, ironically, you talk to a supplier, it's almost like, if they don't tell you you owe money, then it's a sign that their accounts are correct.
So their response is pretty much universally, well, we've been telling you that we haven't been paid for the last 3 months.
How? By email, right?
Email, phone, and letter.
Oh, email, phone, and letter. That's more interesting. Who is the letter sent to?
It's sent to the office.
Okay. So if that's the case, then you have somebody on the inside, right? This is definitely an insider.
And they can give you the address of the office if you want.
Yes, please.
Okay, it's not the address of your office.
Oh, great. We've been conned.
For all cases?
For all cases. It seems to be some sort of dummy address, so the post office have probably either been returning the letters or just putting them in lost letter. Empty office somewhere.
Yeah, that's a neat one. So that for that to occur, you're now implying that whoever set those contracts up, right, actually is not a case of
they impersonated our person, and they might have updated the account details, like we have moved, please update your
can we ask suppliers to say, give us the exact exchange of information that you got from us, right?
Yeah, so 3 months ago they said that you were moving offices. You told them just keep using the accounts at Prevail Bank email address to contact us. That's fine, that won't be changing. Keep using the phone number we gave you. That's fine, that won't be changing, but the address will be changing. And to confirm it, you can always check on Companies House to see that it's updated there.
And was he updated there?
It was.
It was or it wasn't?
Oh my, it was. It says. Mm.
Now that's more interesting. So my understanding the Companies House also has a wrong address.
Yep.
In Estonia.
No, the address that Companies House have isn't in Estonia. It's the same address the suppliers have.
And the CFO is in Estonia at the moment? Is that how
That's, I was going to say the CFO is, well, off on a retreat somewhere. He said non-technology, non-contactable, contactable thing. So okay, well, given
I'll good point. We should be calling the police right now, right? This is way, this is a massive. Yeah, I'm with you. Alan says the CFO and previous account person. If this is going more than 3 months, I would say everybody in the finance department is, is either involved, right? This, there's too much stuff on it that, not to be picked up even by accident, right? Companies' house being changed, contracts being changed, clients having wrong, email addresses, right? It feels way too much, right? To not to be an insider, right?
Yeah. And right on the end of the third month, the CFO is coincidentally also on leave and not available. Oh, so the CFO is in Bermuda.
No, the CFO isn't in Bermuda.
Who is this?
Ex-office admin.
Okay. Oh.
Nothing like dropping the odd little hint.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, as our external incident response cybersecurity person, you're obviously recommending contacting the police. The CEO is off on a personal errand and has delegated responsibility to the CTO.
I've just got a quick point for the shareholders' advisors. Being tied up in a police investigation is going to extend the time before you start getting a return quite a bit and could potentially really damage the company.
Yeah, maybe we shouldn't call the police because what should they do?
So go on, Benjamin.
I wouldn't call the police at this moment.
Well, so my view on that.
Understand that, James, but we're not going to get any return at all if the bank goes under in the next 30 days.
Yep. Yeah. No, absolutely. You currently owe between all of the suppliers who haven't been paid about 240,000.
Are we a financial bank? We do financial stuff. Are we regulated by the FSA?
You are regulated by the FCA.
Well, that's why the safety deposits.
That's the first one that you should call, right? Because the data that you have now is bad, right? You got information change, payments made to people not authorized. You have companies in house being modified. Actually, just that one, Alan, you have a bit more experience than me on the financial sector, right? But that seems to me like a massive problem, right?
You called it earlier. This feels like an insider fraud to me.
Yeah.
Because an email account compromise shouldn't allow you to make this volume of changes.
Yeah.
That's my feel on what we've got so far. Given the sum that James has just identified, Benjamin, I think we need to put our hands in our pockets to give Prevail some operating capital. Some operating cash, but it'll be in the form of a convertible loan whilst we investigate this. But I think this is where we need to instruct Annie to work with the police and probably the regulators to track where the funds went to. And it sounds like we need some cooperation with Europol to Estonia and probably Interpol to Bermuda. But Bermuda is actually a UK territory. So the FCA might be able to help us anyway.
Well, the Bermuda link is the ex-office admin. That's tenuous. I'm not saying it isn't, but the money disappearing to Estonia is fact. A tweet from someone in Bermuda it's a link, but it's tenuous at this point in time.
No, it is, but it's coincidence. Look at the timing. That person left 3 months ago. The new person came in 2 months ago, and all the changes happened 3 months ago. The CFO may or may not be connected, but the CFO would probably need somebody to assist. Certainly, there should be a four eyes principle on account changes. So that's where my suspicious head goes.
Oh, I'm not denying the suspicion, but I mean, we're what, an hour or two in? Realistically, I know it definitely feels inside, and talking to the FCA, police, etc., definitely the right thing to do. But it's very early to start. I wouldn't say pointing fingers, but there's a serious lack of evidence for it. You couldn't just go to Bermuda and say, "Oi, ex-office admin, come back here." You can't do that. There's not enough. There's not enough evidence. There's not enough evidence for that.
We can't do that, but the police can ask their counterparts in Bermuda to pick the person up for questioning. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all.
Questioning on what grounds? They tweeted they were in Bermuda. That's all we know.
Actually,
and now we can figure out a lot more in the next few hours through digging stuff up. But you cannot pull someone in on a tweet, which is all we have at this point in time.
No, but we wouldn't pull them because of the tweet, right? We will pull them because that person was in the building, in the financial team when the changes occurred. So in fact, anybody that was in the building that had access to the system that could have this needs to be investigated.
But absolutely. And we need to go and find the CFO as well. And probably the CEO and the COO and all of them. But that's different from just picking up the office admin for discussions.
No, absolutely.
We need to do a whole lot more digging before that.
But processes, the police invite them in to answer some questions. That's a witness. It's only once you've got the evidence that you turn it into a suspect interview, is you give them enough rope to hang themselves. But the last thing we need them to do is to go from Bermuda to Venezuela, where we don't have an extradition agreement. They've gone at that point.
So, in the meantime, James, can we reverse all the changes with our suppliers?
Yeah, it's a tedious job to run through, but getting the right account details is basically a matter of getting in touch with them, updating them.
Any customer data and financial data from customers impacted at the moment?
We don't know. But I want to ask James a question. The tweet shows like it's from June, but shall we ignore that? Do we take it as a
ignore the
recent
date.
one?
I forgot to update the date.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, but we had said. I saw that you said there was a customer complaint. You can talk to us, but you say it's a financial thing, right? FinTech. We have the customers' money. Is that the business of the company?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we're like a bank.
So do we have any customers complaining about numbers being wrong or funds being wrong?
No.
No more than usual.
Okay, no more than usual. Fair enough. So at the moment, there is no evidence of customer fraud or customer data being exposed, or even employee data being exposed.
No.
Okay.
We haven't investigated those, but we do not have suspicions around that. We don't have any smoke coming from there indicating a fire.
It's the same thing. Like in those cases, there's always smoke, right? Like there's always complaint. Right? If somebody was manipulating the data, have we checked if the bank accounts that we have shows any bad transactions? Do the balance at least match up what we expect to have?
Our bank accounts?
Yeah. So so you said our money got moved into the thing. So I'm assuming that's ring fenced in some kind of financial instruments, right? Any foul play in those amounts there?
I'm going to refer to Jonathan on that.
And
none of your fraud systems have thrown up alerts about discrepancies in accounting or any oddities.
Yeah, but can we just look at the number in the what's it called?
Yeah, the balance is fine. The balance is right.
Yeah. So who is the one who can go to the investors and get some money to cover for the cost? So you're saying it's 250K. You think it's 250K in terms of expenses, right? Yeah, I would absolutely go to the investors and say, you guys, and like I think with Alan, you're saying get a debt or get some loan, like literally in the next day.
Alan is the investor.
Oh,
yes.
I and Benjamin are playing the role of the investors. Correct.
All right,
and they have very generously volunteered to put their hands in their pockets to help out. From an investigation point of view, now we have our email back online and we have our phone system back online. Can we start digging in or going back through logs? I mean, we have the process of we're doing all the fixing, so addresses, contact details, changing of passwords, etc., etc. Now moving into the investigative side of things, going back through phone logs, email logs, etc., etc. Actually going to our bank that we use and asking who and when the various changes on the payment details were made would be useful.
Yep, I agree. That's a good one.
And then from there, likewise, going through emails, looking, the email system, the phone system, looking for anything that's been redirected, again, just stealing, borrowing your idea. Sorry, what you were saying earlier, Dennis. So yeah, James, I've thrown a lot of stuff at you there in terms of questions.
Okay. So the account has multiple signatories. Any single signatory can sign off on a transaction and set one up. So you've got 3 logins to the account. You've got your new person in accounts, you've got the CFO, and you've got the old person in accounts. They can all log in and make changes. The old person in accounts was general stuff around the office, but also sorted out the payments early on.
So that's the one who tweeted. Is that the same person?
Yeah, she's still on your, connected to some of you on Twitter, hence why you saw the tweet.
So we have 3 people that can log in. Who made the changes then? I'm assuming the other bank will have an audit log of who made what changes when.
Yeah, it was the CFO.
Ooh, fun.
The CFO made the change on the account, right? Is that 2FA on it?
Yeah, it had 2FA. It sends a token to the office number and deals everything from there.
Well, office, I mean mobile number, right?
No.
Is the CFO normally the type of guy that
leaves? 2FA number is the office. Sorry, was that what you're saying?
I was just asking if the CFO is one of those guys that actually normally leaves a post-it with his password on his laptop. Apparently, it's very common.
Might be.
You're saying that the CFO mobile number, the 2FA number, was actually the phone number of the office?
Yeah, it's a ring round number for the accounting department.
Okay. Which is the same number that was on the invoices, right?
No, different number.
Okay. So you're saying that if I log in as a CFO, to be able to log in as a CFO, I need to literally be in the office to be able to answer the call.
So to be able to log in as the CFO, you need to be in the ring group for the accounting department.
Ring group means
have the username and password.
He gets called. What do you mean that? He gets called in sequence?
Ring group it's just a collection of phones that ring at the same time.
Yeah.
And because we are a managed service provider, because we're using a managed service provider, one assumes that with the appropriate creds, you could be anywhere and get access to the calls. You just would log in.
So who's on that ring group?
Well, there's the CFO, your new person in accounting, and your old accounting person.
Do we? Okay.
So
that person impersonating the CFO, you would need.
Well, it's either the CFO or someone impersonating the CFO at this point in time.
Or
Can we go find?
Though, could it be an insider in the Simple Agile?
Not if they know the CFO's password.
They could have sprayed it, so they could have.
Well, I mean, we have at the moment we know that the changes in the accounts were made by the CFO account. I'm using air quotes. I'm not saying the CFO. So, yeah, James, what did anything crop up in terms of email redirects, phone redirects, general config of that stuff?
Yes.
Cool. What cropped up there?
There was an email redirect rule on the shared accounts mailbox, which basically dumped everything from a list of suppliers straight into deleted.
That's good to know.
And where the email is deleted?
They're in the recycle bin, so you can get them back. But yeah, they were deleted. There are various warnings from various suppliers saying you've not paid us, you've not paid us. There's something from Agile Service saying we are going to cut your service if you don't bring yourselves up to date within 30 days.
Can we get logs on what account made that change?
You can.
And when it's when you say the COO, I'm gonna disappear and run away off to Bermuda because my part might have been discovered.
Let me just set something up for you, which might give it away.
Ex-office admin.
So the ex-office admin set up the email redirect rule. Okay. Well, sorry, I need to be careful. The ex-office admin account set up the redirect rule. I am being very careful. So, okay. Can we go and get the CFO from wherever their non-technology retreat is?
Probably. I think you've pretty much reached a nice conclusion now and kind of worked out what went on, as well as done a fair bit of damage control with suppliers, made sure that if there is going to be an investigation, it's going to be a nice, quiet one, not something that's straight in the Daily Mail, because you didn't go to the police first, you went through the FCA, who understand the need for a bit of subtlety sometimes. But yes, it was the ex-office admin with their incredible technical knowledge of how to set up email redirects, and a CFO who gave them the password because they couldn't be bothered with the whole hassle of 4 eyes on every transaction. Along with that, since they were the first one in the office, they collected the post, meaning that when authorization codes came from company's house, they picked up the authorization code and could freely change any details they wanted on company's house.
Cool.
It also states that there was nobody doing the suppliers management, relationship management there,
It does.
And they didn't separate the responsibilities of maintaining that contact with the one that paid.
Yep. This scenario would not work with an established company where you've got segregation of responsibilities and various other things. It only works with a startup where you've got maybe half a dozen people.
Yeah, but also a CFO. slipping a little bit on the wheel, right?
Yeah. If the CFO hadn't been an absent role, someone else could have been sleeping a little bit and it would have gone down a slightly different route. But yeah, ultimately, someone in the senior team was sleeping at the wheel. And so this was possible with very little technical skill.
But it's realistic because it does happen.
Yeah.
Just to comment, James and Jonathan, I know there's the view that the police can be flat-footed, but the City of London police deal with this all the time. They do know how to be discreet.
Yep, no, it wasn't a comment on the police being a bit over-aggressive sometimes, or on City of London police. It was more on, it's probably best to go to the FCA first for this sort of thing if you're FCA regulated. Because there are certain things that they might want you to do, probably not in this case, but in others, there are exceptions to let's just immediately deal with it, where they would want you to continue working with that person to gather more.
Yeah,
absolutely. If it's not an individual, it's an organised crime ring, absolutely. But again, City of London Police are pretty organised with that because they actually run the organised crime fraud group.
My comment wasn't in relation to, or wasn't intended to be in relation to skill or not of the police in handling things. If at the point at which we were in the discussions, one tweet from Bermuda felt very early to be felt early to be pulling in the police to ask them to pull in someone to interview. Now we have a lot more evidence. Absolutely. I just wanted a bit more, a bit more certainty. Clarity, all of the above.
Cool.
Good. I think that's quite an interesting one because, from a smaller company point of view, when you look at, it's almost like that interesting attack tree, right? If that gets done, that's done, and that's done. How could you mitigate against that, right? So it's actually quite a good, sequence of events. Good stuff.
Yeah. Well, my red team is off enjoying Bermuda, so. But yeah, normally it's more organised red team, more split out into teams. This one I did want to try a slightly different scenario. Hopefully it was still interesting to people and you got something out of it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah, I liked it because it's kind of a, you're holding the structure, so you have the storyline in front of you, so you know exactly what happened, right? And then it's like a murder mystery, man. It's cool.
Yeah.
It was the person from accounts payable with the lead pipe in the accounting department.
Yeah, part of the aim for this one was to remove as much technical depth as possible. So to make it not some sort of, we've managed to compromise something.
Yeah.
Except for eavesdropper, of course, who was compromised from the start. But I mean, you put her on 14,000 a year as the office admin, doing accounts, picking up mail at 6 o'clock in the morning and leaving at 7 o'clock. It's your own fault. Treat yourself better.
Lessons learned, huh?
Yeah. Well, and give her every single credential that you have, right?
I've met some office admins. It's surprising how much they know.
Oh, they know everything, right? It's like.
Dida, do you want to cut the recording? I think we've reached a close and we can.
Yeah.